Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition here of Mental Mondays. Really appreciate you guys taking some time to watch the video. And all you guys that have been with me since I started Mental Mondays, we've got the club going here. It's got the regulars that come in every week. Like I said, views are terrible on Mental Mondays, but everybody that joins Mental Mondays, it seems like I got a lot in common with them. So thanks a lot for taking some time to watch the video. And today's topic was a request from one of my subscribers. They wanted to have basically have a discussion on how to handle like catastrophic loss and grief, that type of stuff. And I think that's a great topic. You know, we've touched on this type of stuff before, but I want to address this into a little bit more detail. And first of all, like I said, you know, in all this type of stuff, when we talk about this, I don't claim to be an expert on it, but I think that I can talk about this particular subject, you know, loss and grief and that type of stuff, because not only have I had to experience it myself several times, but I've had a lot of friends that went through it. I've been very close friends with some combat veterans that went through not only that, but the PTSD associated with it. So I've been around it a lot. You know, I've been familiar with what, you know, entails it. So when I talk about this, guys, I'm not talking about, you know, some type of a clinical explanation for it. I mean, you can Google that and you can find all that type of stuff. I'm just going to tell you guys from a practical stance, from my own experience, what I went through, and, you know, from friends of mine, you know, some things that you can do that will help out with that. Because if you're one of those people that are fortunate enough not to have experienced that, that's good, but chances are everybody does. If you live long enough, you're going to have to go through that. So anyway, we'll get into this a little bit here. You know, when you're talking about grief and traumatic loss and stuff that just knocks you to the pavement, that comes up in life, it's not one shoe fits all. Every situation is different, and the intensity of the event is different. It can range from something as it can be mild or it can be debilitating where you can't even function, and everything in between. So from that standpoint, how you address that is going to be a little bit different. What I want to do is I want to give you guys some practical things that you can try, or some of the things that you can do that may help out. And first of all, I'm going to turn the air conditioner just kicked on here. First of all, I want to address one thing. Inevitably, when I do videos like this, when I talk about hard things in life, there's a lot of people out there that, you know, bring up religion, and they bring up turning to religion. I'm not going to really focus on that here, because, you know, there are dozens and dozens of major religions across the world, and one of the common threads about religions is that every religion thinks they're right and thinks that everybody else is wrong. So from that standpoint, it's hard to tie in something that works for everybody, because when it comes to trying to seek comfort in those terms, you can't force that on somebody. You can't force your belief system on somebody else and expect that to work for them. So I sort of want to leave that part of it out, the whole faith, religious part of it, and deal with it from a different perspective. First of all, when you have something that happens like this, for lack of a better term, just a catastrophic grief event. It could be losing a loved one, you know, a death, somebody close to you, a traumatic experience. It could be a breakup of a relationship, a lot of different things, even losing a pet. I mean, some people are so attached to their pets, you know, that I've seen that become really debilitating to some extent even there. So the situation doesn't really matter as far as what happens. It's the feeling that comes with it, the grief that comes with it, that we got to talk about. One of the first things, if you ever have to go through this, one of the first things I can tell you, and I wish I'd known this, because I learned the hard way. When I had to go through this stuff, I didn't have anyone to really help me out other than my buddies, just like trying to lift me up a little bit. But I didn't have anyone. I didn't know what to expect as far as the processes go. But one of the things that you're going to have to prepare yourself for, and it's an empowering thing to do, is you are going to grieve, you are going to be sad, you're going to be frustrated, you're going to feel hopeless, you're going to be debilitated to different levels. you're going to have to accept the fact that you're getting ready to go through that. And one of the things that will help you with that is necessary to heal. You've got to go through that. If you do not go through that, you simply cannot come out the other end better. And so accept the fact that this is going to be part of the process. And it can be extremely debilitating. I mean, I can tell you everybody reacts to it differently, but in one of the situations I went through, I lost 30, 40 pounds in probably 3 months' time. That was pretty common with that. Most people can't sleep. You're just wishing you can sleep to sort of get an escape from the feeling. It's just like sleep is one of the few escapes you got. But ultimately what you have to tell yourself is you're going to go through at least a 6-month grieving process with it before you start to get a little bit better. You never completely recuperate. When you have a loss that is an intense loss in your life, it's going to scar you permanently to some extent. Now you can still come out and leave a fully happy, joyful, productive life, but ultimately something like that is never going to go away. It's sort of something you have to deal with the whole time. But I think one of the first things you have to tell yourself is give yourself 6 months or so before you're going to start feeling better. And I can promise you, one of the things that you're going to go through is you're going to go through this feeling that it's hard to see past your situation that you're in, the feeling that you're having. You may feel like this is going to be the way it is forever. It's not, guys. It is not. When you go through a traumatic experience like this, you're going to have that feeling of hopelessness, that like it's never going to get better. But I can assure you, part of the wonderful mystery of the universe and life is that time heals. Time truly heals something like this, to as much of an extent that you can do with that. So give yourself the time and realize that it's going to suck and it's going to take some time to do that. The next thing you can do with that is you've got to be able to bounce it off of some friends or some people you trust. One of the most therapeutic things you can do to get through grief is you've got to be able to verbalize your feelings and have somebody that's a good listener, not necessarily somebody that tries to give you advice. Although, some people can give good advice, some people can give bad advice, but you need somebody that you can just let them know how you feel. I mean, you can't deny how impactful that is to get that off your chest. And everybody should try to, if you don't have somebody that's close to you like that, there is counseling that you can talk to. There's people you can talk to with that. A couple of different things you can do with that. One of the things that grief brings, and one of the things that loss brings, it can really attack your motivation on all different levels. It can attack your motivation for work, taking care of yourself are the two big ones. One of the things that you have to do that's going to help you out more than anything else is you have got to maintain your health through this when you go through it. And the best way that you can do it, guys, is get in the gym. You're not going to want to. You're going to want to, you're going to have this feeling and this desire to curl up in a ball and not ever want to get up. You have got to pull yourself up, and you've got to get into that gym. You got to get walking. You got to get moving. You got to take care of yourself. When you do that, and when you start, getting past that, it can, in your body responds to that. It responds to the endorphins that are released from that or whatever. It helps with that process. It helps take your mind off of that. That's one of the biggest things that you'll notice with people that are going through a real devastating loss is their health goes down, and you can see it. I mean, they get gaunt, they look like crap, you lose a lot of weight. Some people may gain a lot of weight depending upon how you handle it. But one of the things I can tell you, and one of the things that I would have known at the time, is that you've got to take care of yourself. Next thing with that is don't discount the importance of being outside in nature. Being outside in nature, being around animals, cats and dogs, being at the lake, all that type of stuff is going to help pull you away from that a little bit. You've got anything that you can do to get out of that pit where you're focused on just your own situation is going to be extremely beneficial for. And that's the problem you have when you're going through grief and you're going through tremendous loss, is you tend to feel like you're in this silo and you're in this hole that you're never going to be able to get out of, and you're never going to be the same again. You're never going to be whole again. If you feel like you've lost something, you're going to feel like that part of your life is gone and it's never going to be able to be replaced, and you're not going to be the same as a result. But guys, one of the things about life is the old cliche, when one door closes, another one opens, is so true. It's so true in every aspect of our life, and especially when it comes to loss like that. I mean, but again, it just takes time. Now, I don't claim, this what I'm talking about here is it's, for example, if somebody loses like a child or something, I can't even imagine, losing a child, how devastating that would be. There's certain situations like there where the loss is so traumatic that maybe something you've reached a point where you just cannot get past it. You don't have the strength yourself as a person to get past that. When that comes to the forefront, you got to seek counseling. You got to seek professional help with that, because they're the only ones that can really take you away from that when something to that extent comes through. I mean, like I said, we talked before, every single traumatic event has levels of intensity, and I don't claim to be able to relate to some of the people on the extreme end. I can just imagine, some of those images you see from Ukraine, where there's parents who are driving their 6-year-old kid to school and they get hit by a freaking Russian artillery piece and kills their kids. I just can't imagine that type of a grief. From my standpoint there, I would be so focused on revenge that I couldn't see anything else. So everybody responds to that differently. But ultimately, guys, there's no easy answer to it. There's not. I mean, that's one of those things in life that, the entire experience of life on this planet is one of constant joy and sorrow and happiness and sadness. It's a journey. It's up and down all the time. I don't think that we're put on this planet to lead one particular lifestyle. I mean, people should not be sad all the time. People can't be happy all the time, and people can't be joyful. People can't be anxious all the time. You got to be able to have some type of a balance, but you got to be able to deal with those things when they come up. So anyway, like I said, nothing easy about that, guys. This is one of the toughest things that you're ever going to go through. Like I said, I just wanted to throw out a couple little pieces of advice there that may help you guys out. Ultimately, like I said, this is just, I'm giving you guys my perspective on it. What I've seen from my own viewpoint. Again, if you're in a spot that you just can't get out of, just seek some help there, because there's people that can definitely help. And just talk about it, guys. Like I said, just don't. There's nothing. I've been around. Like I said, some of the most devastated people I've ever been around have been combat veterans that I've been friends with. And one of the things I can tell you from somebody that's been through trauma and loss to the extent that those guys have, which most people will never experience, is there's a tremendous amount of healing being able to confide in somebody that you trust. So that's a big deal there too. So, guys, a few thoughts. Thanks for tuning in for this week's video. Much appreciated. And we'll talk to you guys later. See ya.